one last story I'd like to really focus on because it comes up in the Gospel of Luke and not really anywhere else. And that is the story of Zaccheus, who's called the chief tax collector. We're going to read Zaccheus, the story in Luke 19, 1 through 10. He entered Jericho and was passing through, and behold, there was a man named Zaccheus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich. That kind of falls in place. If you're a chief tax collector, you will be rich. And he was seeking to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd he could not because he was small in stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zaccheus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he hurried and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all grumbled, he has gone into the guest of a man who is a sinner. And Zaccheus stood and said to the Lord, behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold. And Jesus said to him, today salvation has come into this house, since he is also a son of Abraham, for the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. So that's the story, and I think there are some cultural keys that are behind this story as well. Probably on the surface, you can kind of read it and get a gist of it anyways, but I think it enhances the whole understanding of this story. So, first of all, a chief tax collectors, you may know this, you may understand this, they are basically aligned with the Roman government and have sold out their countrymen because it was occupied territory, Palestine at the time. And a tax collector was despised in rabbinic literature and in the New Testament, and he and his family were considered unclean. Lying to him was actually condoned. This is fascinating that was the case. So we see in the story that then Zaccheus, it says, ran ahead of the crowd. So for an older person, a man, to run anytime is totally undignified. So Zaccheus was so intent in trying to meet this Jesus that he runs ahead. And he climbs a powerful sycamore fig tree. So powerful people do not climb into trees. He runs ahead and he gets up into the tree, into the dense foliage. The Mishnah, like what I'm talking about is, the Mishnah says a tree may not be grown within a distance of 25 cubits from the town, or 50 cubits if it is a carob or sycamore tree. So this is about 200 feet at least outside of the village. Now, how in the world did Jesus know who he was? The crowds don't respond, oh my goodness, he knows him already? The crowds don't respond, how did he? Sometimes they respond, how do you know, to Jesus? And he seems to it doesn't seem to be a miracle that he knows his name. The most likely scenario is he is a hated tax collector in this place. The people despise him. He's up in this tree. The people see him in this tree. And they start taunting him and jeering him. They might even be throwing some stones at him and talking about how unrighteous he is. And then Jesus turns the tables on it all. He looks up into the tree and says, Zaccheus, I must stay at your house today. So Jesus sizes up the tension of the situation, and he intervenes, and he is the one now who is going to receive the scandal. Zaccheus was the one who's really the scandal in this story, but now Jesus takes it on himself. It's unheard of to invite yourself into somebody's house like this. And yet, that's what Jesus does. He does the socially unacceptable thing in order to solve the situation. And then when they saw it, they all grumbled. He has gone in the guest of a man who is a sinner. Katalusai. That verb, to be a guest, means Jesus was going to stay overnight. Yes. The kataluma is the upper room or the guest room of a house. So Jesus would be being defiled by staying in the house of a sinner, according to the whole crowds. And how in the world would he do that? And then he says, today salvation has come. That's the divine passive. You are receiving salvation. I'm bringing it with me. And then he ends this whole story with, for the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. Now the rabbis said, according to the Babylonian Talmud, come and hear, for shepherds, tax collectors, and revenue farmers it is difficult to make repentance, yet they must make restitution to all those whom they know they have robbed. So it was assumed that shepherds out in the fields were probably fleecing the flock and would almost always be accused of crimes in a town overnight because they thought they came in. Robbers were the same, and tax collectors as well. And Jesus says repentance comes after, not before. Again, this is like Luke 15 as well. The parable of the prodigal son, the parable of the lost sheep and the lost coin, that Jesus says repentance comes after, not before. It's possible to say that the Zaccheus story is one that probably in a nutshell brings together many aspects of the life and public ministry of Jesus. Jesus offers costly love, which is at the heart of his proclamation. It costs him a lot. He becomes a scandal as a result. He engages in justice advocacy indirectly, because Zacchaeus' response in the end, he is paying back fourfold what he has stolen and extorted from people. He demonstrates compassion by bringing healing of all the relationships. Zacchaeus can become, again, part of the community because of the restoration that he brings about. And Jesus said, today salvation has come to this house. He is also a son of Abraham, for the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. This could be a theme verse for the whole Gospel of Luke.